right, gang, here we are, sort of a part 2 on the tariff video. And if you haven't seen the tariff video, go check out the link in the description. We'll put it down there, where I did an in-depth interview on my thoughts on the tariffs and how Valaverse was handling them. Not how other companies are handling, just how we as a company were making the decisions moving forward. Now, at the start of that video, I did put a disclaimer about certain comments. Some people got their feelings hurt about it, and I could kind of see that. The point of the comments is for us to engage in good conversation and what your thoughts are on this. So this disclaimer is not going to be the same as the last one. However, I'm going to ask that you just be courteous human beings in the comments. And if you are not, then those comments will be removed. That's that. So we will get on into my thoughts on the current state of the tariff. Okay, so here we are. It is May 17th, and there's been a new development as far as the tariffs between the United States and China. Now, when we filmed our first video, the tariffs were as high as 145%, and it was causing a lot of turmoil in the toy industry between companies and consumers. And some people were being very reactionary, in my opinion. And there was a lot of unanswered questions. Now, in that video, I explained how Valaverse was handling it. We were taking kind of the sit back and watch approach because we were able to afford that luxury, whereas other companies had to be a little more reactionary, some not so much. But now, just, I believe, last week, there was an agreement between the United States and China that the tariffs were being dropped to 30% for the next 90 days, starting on May 14th, I believe it was. Now, this was some good news. It's not where we'd like it to be. I mean, I'm a firm believer that there should be a free trade market. I think there should be no tariffs on anything, and everyone should just be able to trade freely because we all have goods that other people need, and that's just how I believe it should be. However, that's not the case. Again, we are stuck with a 30% tariff, which, again, is not great. It's better than 145%, but it's still not. It's not good. If it was 10%, okay, I'd feel really good about it. And the other concern is it's 90 days. So my question is well, what happens after the 90 days? I'm sure there's going to be continued negotiations. Without getting too deep into the weeds, I'm sure they're going to be trying to figure out who can benefit who. But I'm hoping after those 90 days, maybe it goes down to 10%. I honestly don't see it going up. I see it either maintaining or going down. Now, again, what I said in the last video about the Toy Association leading this sort of, movement to get toys to be 0% on tariffs, which hopefully they can still do because, again, 30% is still a lot. So, again, still a lot of unanswered questions. Now, this change actually benefits me, which is good, and I'll explain that, because I talked about in the last video how I had a shipment that left in April, and I got hit with an extra $11,000 charge on top of the shipping fee. And I just decided to eat that cost. Well, now, instead of that shipment arriving at port at 145%, it's arriving at port at 30%. So now I'm going to get the majority of that money back, which benefits us as a company. Again, we weren't going to raise the price or anything like that of that item, but we don't lose out on the funds. And, that we were told by our shipping company that, look, if anything changes while it's on the water, yes, you'll get reimbursed those funds, which is great. That's great news. So, and a lot of other people hopefully are getting refunds based on shipments that haven't landed yet. Now, it would be unfortunate if people had something land the day before, the new deal went into effect. But yeah, luckily we're in a position where this will arrive within the next 2 to 3 weeks and we will get hit with the 30%. So, remains to be seen what the amount is we will get back. But either way, it's good, benefits the company. We don't lose out on that. Now, I do have it. I'm still in a position where Valaverse we are going to be kind of sitting back and still waiting because we don't have anything else that's ready to ship yet until about August, September. And that's about the 90-day cutoff. So I'm like, okay, well, do we continue with the production of what we're doing, hoping that it stays at 30 or goes down to 10, hopefully. But now 30, it's a tough one, because say you have, hypothetically $100,000 shipment, and that's what you declare your value for. Well, you're getting hit with an extra 30 grand. Well, if it's 200,000, you're getting an extra 60 grand and so on. Well, the more you go up, the bigger that number is going to be. Now, the stuff we have shipping out during that time is, somewhere between the $200,000 and $300,000 mark. And that's a big chunk of money when you start dissecting it like that. Again, we have no plans at this time to raise prices on anything. I was doing a panel at a convention today where I was talking about how it would be nice. Now, do not quote me on this. I'm just saying that this is our plan. We are not there yet, but we are hoping to get our figures down to $27.99. I don't know if that's possible. We are continuing to talk with our factory partners and negotiating constantly on costs because we just saw that Hasbro had said that Black Series, Legends, and Classified were going up to $29.99, which is the exact price of Action Force. Now, it would be really nice if we could be lower than that. I don't know if that's going to be possible. I'm working very hard with, business partners and our factory partners to see if we can get there. But again, a lot of things are going to be changing over the next few months, especially after the 90 days of tariffs. So we'll see. But a lot of unanswered questions. And again, we're holding course on kind of sitting back and waiting for a little bit. Now we have to decide again, are we going to continue with our schedule and, still ship out that August, September timeframe? Because say the tariffs go up after the 90 days and we're getting ready to ship, we might have to hold back. There's a lot of companies that were holding containers in the ports in China and not having them shipped over because it was cheaper to pay the fees to have it stay in the port rather than get hit with the 145% tariff coming over here. So, but those are questions that we will have to figure out as a company and see what the best course of action is. But there is positive movement. I'm still feeling good about it. I still think this is something that, wasn't going to last very long and is not sustainable for either side. Again, the 30% is not great, but it is manageable. And at Valaverse, we are continuing to move forward and say, we're not raising prices at this time. Again, that can totally change after the 90 days. Say the tariffs go up to 60% or go back up to 100%. Well, then we have to assess. But the last resort is to raise prices on the consumer because the consumers made this company and I don't want to put that on them. If we can eat it, we're going to eat it because that's the way it should be. So we'll see. We'll see how this all goes. And yeah, so again, guys, hopefully you guys are having, courteous conversations and comments. And, this is just about, the situation. Please don't get crazy. Don't go at one another. It's an unfortunate situation, but, we don't need to make it worse by starting fires in the comments. So hopefully you guys dug the update. I can definitely see me doing, a third and a fourth part to this. We'll just end up having a whole segment on the tariff situation. But that's where we're at now. And when I have more to share, we will let you know.